Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to SP Apparels Limited Q4 FY21 results conference call hosted by Systematix Institutional Equities. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Naushad Chaudhary from Systematix. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thanks, Neerav. Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Systematix, I welcome you all on SP Apparels conference call. I thank the management team of SP Apparels for giving us this opportunity to host them. From the management team side, we have Chairman and Managing Director Mr. P. Sundarajan, Executive Director Ms. S. Lata, Director Mr. S. Chenduran, CFO Mr. V. Balaji, CEO Ms. P. V. Jiva. Now I hand over the call to the management team. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you present on the call to discuss our financial year ended FY21. At the outset, I hope and wish that all of you and your loved ones are healthy and safe. COVID-19 pandemic has spread at an alarming pace and has emerged as a social, economic and humanitarian crisis worldwide, infecting millions and bringing the countries worldwide to a standstill. This has caused a lot of damages to the biggest of the economies in the world. Your company has weathered well during the crisis, and we have managed better during this second wave. Lockdown during the month of January to March in the UK has disrupted the operations, and in spite of the above disruption, we were able to deliver better revenue during that quarter, mainly due to the product segment which we cater to. By end of March, second wave started in India, which has affected the performance of the company during Q1 FY22. But in spite of this, we are managing to perform better than the last year wave, which is Q1 FY21. Now, we are glad to inform that the board has recommended for a dividend at 22.5%, that is rupees 2.25 per share. Our major divisions have performed well during this quarter. This shows the inherent strength in the company. This sustained gains gained during this period of the business will take us to a new height. Regarding our various segment performances, Garment division, the shipments to customers during this quarter increased year on year in spite of the lockdown in the UK. Our customers are witnessing consistency in demand, especially for their online retailing business. Retailers' consolidation of supply base is still happening aggressively, and that is one of the reasons that will support our growth going forward, as we continue to remain as one of their most preferred suppliers. As of now, our current order book stands at rupees 325 crores. Our Garment division revenue for the quarter stood at 163 crores, an increase of 13% year on year. Our EBITDA margins improved from 13.1% to 17.8% this quarter, which improved by 470 bps. EBITDA margin could have been better provided the government has released RoDTEP. This has an impact of 4% in the margins comparing last quarter. As mentioned in the previous call, we have consolidated factories to reduce the rent, workman transportation costs, and other operating overheads. We are confident that the EBITDA margin will sustain at this level going forward. Our strategy in increasing the utilization level by aggressive sourcing and training of workmen is gradually yielding results. We are working with a mix of employee base. We have migrant employees, home state employees, as well as the local employees who travel through transportation. The strategy to bring more migrant employees will start yielding better results going forward. Second lockdown in Tamil Nadu was for 7 weeks, and on the current status of the factories, we have resumed our operations and have reached to 60% of where we were before the lockdown. We were able to utilize the capacities better with experience we gained during first lockdown. But for the second wave in Tamil Nadu, we would have seen a better utilization of machines. Our efforts in increasing the utilization of machines by increasing the second shift has been deferred due to the second wave and will implement at the right time. As we have explained in the last phone call about 2 new customers, we are yet to move forward and start the business very soon, and will update you in the right time. With regard to the spinning division, spinning is fully being utilized and is yielding good margin addition to the garment division. Currently, we are in the process of expanding our spinning division by another 3,600 spindles, and now due to the pandemic, the project is delayed by another 3 months. Once the project is completed, we will be at 27,000 spindles. Processing division, the biological treatment plant project is completed and is up and running. This has improved the efficiency of the plant, and now our capacity has increased by another 3 tons per day. This is also contributing a considerable margin to the garment division. With regard to SP Apparel UK, SP UK is looking very promising. We have 3 new customers now in the pipeline. We can expect their orders from October 21st onwards, and will work with us in the babies and kids segment. SP UK revenue stood at 21.9 crores when compared to 11.7 crores of revenue year on year. Our current order book for SP UK is at sterling pound 5.3 million. With regard to retail, revenue for the retail division stood at 8.2 crores for the current quarter compared to 12.7 crores year on year. Unexpectedly, due to second wave in India, we witnessed significant reduction in the sale, and we were forced to give deeper discounts on the products, and we have also liquidated certain stocks during the current quarter. Retail EBITDA was a loss of rupees 4.5 crores. This decline is majorly due to the low sales and the higher discounts. We hope the economy revives and all the malls and stores will be allowed to operate and will start making better revenue and margins going forward. We hope that the efforts of the team will yield us revenue growth and margin sustainability going forward. Our liquidity position continues to remain comfortable. We have cleared all the interest and debt installments obligations that were due until today. Finally, during this FY22, we are working towards better utilization of capacities and also to increase in revenue by strategically having different verticals of businesses which will parallelly grow along with the existing current business, and we are excited about the new verticals. Now I will request Ford to give an overview of the financials. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for participation on the call. I will just run you through the financial performance of the company and the division-wise numbers. Quarter on quarter, quarter-on-quarter performance, revenue stood at 193 crores as against 169 crores year-on-year basis, which grew by 14%. EBITDA stood at 25 crores as against rupees 18 crores year-on-year, which grew by 33%. PBT stood at 15 crores as against 5 crores year-on-year, which grew by 194%, mainly last year base being disrupted during the pandemic. PAT stood at 10.56 crores as against 2.81 crores year-on-year, which grew by 275%. Performance of the year, revenue stood at 653 crores as against 830 crores year-on-year, which is a degrowth of 21%, is mainly due to the pandemic hit in the Q1 and Q2. Our adjusted EBITDA stood at 107 crores as against 89 crores last year, which is a growth of 20%. PBT stood at 59 crores as against PBT of 44 crores last year, which is again a growth of 33%. PAT stood at 43 crores as against 46 crores of last year, which degrew by 8%, mainly due to a DTA reversal which happened due to the effective tax rate change last year. Garment division, revenue stood at 163 crores versus 144 crores year-on-year. The growth stood at 13% for the current quarter. Revenue was disrupted due to the RoDTEP, which was not announced by the government, and we have not recognized RoDTEP in the revenue. And also it was disrupted due to the container shortage and the Suez Canal issue during this current quarter. This led to the revenue slippage by 12 crores quarter-on-quarter. Revenue for the year stood at 536 crores as against 703 crores year-on-year. This is mainly due to the disruptions caused by the pandemic during Q1 and Q2. EBITDA margin stood at 17.8% as against 13.1% year-on-year. Improvement in spite of RoDTEP not being recognized. EBITDA margins for the year stood at 20.2% for the whole year as against 12% for the whole year. Retail division. Revenue for the quarter stood at 8.2 crores versus 12.7 crores year-on-year. Revenue for the whole year stood at 39.5 crores versus 77.63 crores year-on-year. Revenue has come down significantly due to the disruptions of the pandemic. EBITDA for the quarter was negative to the tune of rupees 4.5 crores. EBITDA for the whole year was also negative 13% as against an EBITDA of 4.4% last year. This EBITDA margin is purely because of reduction in sales. Gross margin also has come down in the retail, mainly due to the higher liquidation and deeper discounts for the current year. On the performance of vertical SP UK, revenue for the quarter stood at 22 crores as against 11.7 crores year-on-year. Growth stood at 87%. Revenue for the year stood at 76 crores as against 50 crores last year, which is at a growth of 50%. Revenue in terms of GDP was at 7.9 million as against 5.6 million last year, and the growth stood at 40%. EBITDA stood at 5.3% versus 3.7% for the whole year. And this is a significant growth in terms of EBITDA and revenue. Let me give the status of the debt position on a standalone basis, excluding the right of use. Gross debt stood at 145 crores, which is a significant reduction in last year number. Last year it was 180 crores. Net debt stood at 113 crores as against 139 crores last year. Significant reduction in debt, which is equivalent to 32 crores. Working capital position, we have a receivable of 93.8 crores as against 85.7 last year. Stock stood at 241 crores as against 227 crores last year. Our payables stood at 73 crores as against 75 crores last year. Our operational cash flow stood at 79.3 crores as against 86.9 crores in spite of the pandemic. Other information is available in the presentation, and we'll get into the questions section.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Participants, you may press star and one to ask the question. The first question is from the line of Giriraj Daga from KM Visaria Family Trust. Please go ahead.
Hello, Tim. Good afternoon. So my first question is regarding when I look at your volume for garment volume for FY21, it is down about 27% for the full year. So I want to understand what was the as per your understanding, how the industry has behaved and how is our market share in FY21? Have we lost market share, and if yes, how much, and have we able to retain our market share? What was the industry number for FY21 in your market where you operate?
See, you cannot just look at numbers versus revenue, because revenue has got certain portion of operating other operating income also. So like the duty drawbacks, the change in the incentive schemes, that will also be part of the duty drawback. But if you look at the volume, it will also be like what kind of products we do. So I think looking at volume versus revenue could not give a better picture in terms of reduction. What you say is 27% versus the revenue reduction is close to around 20%, because we didn't have the opportunity of working in the first quarter.
No, I understand. I want to understand that at a client level, have we lost our market share, or that was the idea? Has the client also acquired?
Actually, there is no losses in terms of market share.
Okay. So you mean there is no loss of market share for us? The industry or the client itself has acquired 25-30% lower this year compared to last year.
No, the ability to take orders also depends on the number of capacities which we productively utilize. So like when there is a reduction in capacity due to the lockdown, so I have to take orders based on whatever capacities I have. So it's purely, I think, your question on the revenue versus product pieces may not be right for the current quarter, current year, financial year.
Okay, I'll actually, this year, what is the volume expectation we have? So will we come back to our 6 crore kind of a run rate this year as per your order book and as per the understanding? Assuming there is no fresh COVID wave, can we be able to reach the 6 crore volume number this year?
This year, we should be, first quarter is also a disturbed quarter. Like until today, we are yet to get a clearance from the Tamil Nadu government for opening up fully. And the migrant employees traveling is also restricted. So first quarter is a disturbed quarter. We expect that we should reach 60 million by end of this financial year.
Better than last quarter.
Which will be better than FY20
Q1.
Okay.
So Q1 this time will be better than FY20 Q1. You are mentioning that, or the full year will be better than FY20?
Yes, correct.
Full year, right?
Yeah, full year. I'm talking about the full year. Yeah.
So FY20 we did about 5.76 crore or 57.6 million.
Correct. We should be better or very close
Okay. Okay. Understood. Understood. Second, in terms of EBITDA per piece, so this time after a long time we have come with a run rate of 25, which we saw earlier in 17, 18. Do you think this kind of a number of 25.7 or 25 around rupees EBITDA per piece is sustainable number?
Yeah, whatever, if you look at what the chairman spoke about in the opening remarks, he said that we expect this margin to be sustained for a period of time. In spite of the increase in the cotton prices and the RoDTEP not being recognized, we are able to deliver an 18% EBITDA this quarter. So we feel that this margin should be sustainable going forward.
No, so I'll just press on this. So 18% for the quarter, or you mean to say 20% for the year? So which is sustainable number? 20% or 18%?
So
18 plus.
We feel that 18% should be the guidance for the years to come.
Okay, and there you are not assuming any export duty benefit in 18% margin?
No. See, you cannot look at EBITDA margins and export incentives both together. See, in spite of no export incentives or RoDTEP not being recognized this year, we were able to give you a better EBITDA margin. But what we need to look at is when I have an option of getting an export incentive, I have more. I need not pressurize on the margins with the customer. So I need not negotiate more with the customer.
The idea was that this RoDTEP rate has not been announced. So this 18% number assume what? 2% RoDTEP, 3%, 4%. So that was the idea. When you say 18%,
it is expected close to 4%, between 2 to 4%. So if that is announced, all the possibilities that it can improve only.
Thank you very much, and sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Daga. I'll request you to come back in the question queue for a follow-up question. Participants are requested to stick to 2 questions per participant. If time permits, please come back in the question queue for a follow-up question. The next question is from the line of Akshay Chheda from Canara Robeco Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, very much.
Go ahead.
Okay. So my first question would be, sir, you did mention about the disruptions that have happened in Tamil Nadu. So because of this, obviously, we would be exporting less. So is there a case where the orders get shifted to other competing nations, or the position of India still remains intact? Because in apparels, it is very important that we deliver the goods on time. So that was my first question. And on the second, on this container availability and the freight cost, like are there challenges still on that side, or the situation are somewhat relaxed over there? Yeah, so these were my 2 questions. Thank you.
Yeah, regarding the first question, there is always competitive countries, on the table, and because of this pandemic situation, it doesn't mean that the business is diverted, because even other countries are also suffering such kind of the pandemic thing. So it is not that the customers are comfortable by transferring the orders to Sri Lanka or Cambodia, Vietnam, or even Bangladesh. So definitely this pandemic is not going to affect the orders getting inflow, getting into the country. We are definitely very, very strong in all aspects. India is very, very strong in all aspects. And we, especially SP Apparel, being in baby segment, infant and kids wear segment, always our customers give the first priority to us, and they plan in such a way that sometimes they even take them by air to see that the stocks are available. So they always prefer not to divert the business from us to others in all aspects. So with regard to the point number 2, the container thing that has been now it's regularized, it's normal. There is no issue with this container issues.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Riddhesh Gandhi from Discovery Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Just had a question with regards to any sense on, when we'd expect like normalcy is Q2 onwards, assuming obviously there are no COVID disruptions, but given where we stand with our order book and given that the economy in India is now opening up, do we expect like Q2 to be at like levels of utilization which is close to 100%?
See, the utilization in Q2, so as we always used to be about 78-80% as the utilization of the total capacity.
Yeah.
Around between 70 to 75%. So that will continue, and probably from Q3 the utilization level will slowly increase once we implement the 2 shifts in certain factories, hospital factories. So yes, by Q2 we will be back on track as we were before lockdown time. And then gradually we will ramp up the capacities.
So if we are to adjust for the shifts as well, right? How much would be capacity in Q2, and what would be your expectations around utilization? And in Q3, if we run 2 shifts, how much would be the utilization?
Actually, the shift and all we'll be able to plan only in Q4. Q2 after Diwali, and for Q2 and Q3, our focus will be mainly on bringing back the previous capacity that we had before lockdown.
Got it. But we also
increase about 2 to 3% increase in the capacity additionally from Q4 onwards.
Okay, but is this based on because we had also done a capex where we had increased capacity. So is this on the increased capacity?
No, the capex what we have spent, what we are talking is purely on the
Existing.
The capex. Which capex you are talking about?
I'm talking about the historical capex where we increased our capacity. I'm saying the historical capex where we'd increased our capacity, which was about I think a couple of years ago. We were on the verge of ramping it up. What you all had indicated was usually slow in the ramping up and the profitability is low. Talk about that initial capex. Do we see that being utilized also, or actually appropriately from Q2 onwards?
So in terms of your query on what we have spent on the capacities previously, we'll start.
So it's not spending. I'm talking about utilization.
Madam also said.
Okay. And the other question is that on our existing capacity, how much is the peak revenue which we can do?
On which revenue? How much?
Peak revenue.
On
our existing capacity.
So
and how long do we expect to be able to achieve this?
Sewing machine. And we should be easily doing 1,100 crores of revenue on the exports alone, not to include on the duty drawback and the other benefits.
During the peak
utilization. Peak utilization and at the 100% efficiency level.
And we would expect to be able to reach this level by Q4 or next year, or how should we think about it? Obviously, assuming there are no disruptions of COVID.
Efficiency is not possible anytime. I think 90% utilization is possible, and we can gradually improve our efficiency by 5% year on year. We cannot improve the efficiency immediately to 100%.
I think his question is, what is your peak utilization sales?
Yes.
Not 100%. He is not meaning that way.
Yeah. I'm saying, given this existing capacity, what is the utilization number?
If we really maintain the peak utilization, we can cross 200 crores per quarter.
We can
cross on exports alone.
I'm talking about only on the garment exporting.
Got it. Okay. And the incremental is actually, it is spending capex which we are which we are doing, is the yarn 100% used for internal consumption, or are we selling the yarn also in the market?
No, we are using only for internal purposes, and if there is any excess available in the market, in the production, and we are able to utilize better rates in the market, we will just sell that across.
Predominantly captive only.
Got it. So the expansion which we are doing of this additional spindles will actually increase the profitability.
Correct.
Right. And then the other question was, look, if we see, we had discussed with you a few years ago, we were talking about EBITDA margins at that time in the range of 20 to 22%, right? You now have your own captive spinning, which you are also effectively increasing. Overall, I mean, operating leverage should also be higher as your capacities are coming on stream. Should we not be able to achieve even higher profitability than what we had guided to earlier? And, is this 17, 18%, which you're speaking about, too conservative a number?
So, Ritesh, if you look at the 22% margin, which we spoke a couple of years before, at that point of time, all our benefits, including ROSL, ROSCTL, MEIS, were all at the peak of 11.5%. Now, this quarter, our duty drawback and other benefits are only 2%. So, we are trying to maintain the margin of 18% in spite of increasing the cotton prices, in spite of increasing the wages, in spite of the duty drawbacks being, the ROSCTL and the MEIS withdrawn. We are trying to maintain 18%. So, our guidance is that we will maintain 18% and definitely improve on it going forward with 200 to 250 bits if everything is in our favor. So that is what we are trying to say, that we are maintaining an 18% EBITDA margin.
So in other words, the 18% is on the business own strength without any other supports. So anything plus will be in addition to this one. This is what is the current scenario.
Thank you very much, and sorry to interrupt you, sir. I'll request you to come back in the question queue for a follow-up question. Ladies and gentlemen, we are requested to restrict to 2 questions per participant. If time permits, please come back in the question queue. The next question is from the line of Sumita Srinivasan from ICICI Prudential Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thanks for taking my question. So, 2 questions from my end. One is, cotton prices have been steadily increasing. So, what is our strategy on that front? Do we have, do we generally keep a stock for a large part of the year, or how does it work? And do you see any impact because of this Xinjiang China cotton ban issue, impact on India?
The China cotton prices. Yeah, cotton prices. See, yes, there has been a consistent demand for the cotton prices, and cotton price is going up. It is reaching 60,000 and plus. So definitely, this is a very historical number, this high. But parallelly, there has been overall, if you look at it, there is inflation all over. So this will also inflate the currency, as well as we have to even other competitors from other countries also are getting this kind of costing. So this is not going to have any impact on our costing of the garments to our supplier, our customers. And even the market, the yarn prices are equally, proportionately, it's increasing. So I don't see that there is going to be any difficulty in running the business the normal way.
But do we keep, what is our normal stock that we keep in terms of maybe number of months of cotton stock that the company generally keeps?
Yeah, as we always mention, we don't speculate in keeping the cotton stocks. Always we keep stocks for about 60 days to 90 days consumption. So this is we are not facing any severe impact on this one.
Just to add a point, cotton are always seasonal. So the policy is to maintain stock near 3 months time, and whenever you have better crops and during the season time, it can go up to 120 to 150 days time. So that's the cotton policy where towards the end of March, which is the end of the season, we used to buy higher cotton during that end of season
in July.
During the month of March. So that's the policy on cotton.
Understood. And any thoughts on the China cotton ban issue as well as the China Plus One strategy impact on India? How you see it?
Yeah, this is definitely in India's favor in all aspects, because most of our customers, they make sure that directly or indirectly the raw material what you use should not be from the China particular city cotton. So the customers are very, very vigilant on those things and very, very stringent. So this is again it is leading to increase in the cotton demand. So that's the current scenario.
Understood. And just one last question, if I could squeeze in. What would be your strategy on the retail part going forward? I think this quarter also it has been impacted because of lockdowns, but any incremental investments is planned on that front, or what would be the strategy to revive that segment?
So if you look at incremental investment, we have already stopped investing into retail a year back. So because of the pandemic situation, we are forced to infuse at least 2-3 crores so that the liquidity is far better. So we may have to infuse another 2-3 crores into retail so that the working capital is effectively ramped up because of the damages that has caused because of the pandemic. But in terms of strategy on retail, I think yes, we wanted to strategize and see how we can move forward in terms of retail. But the pandemic has not allowed us to think about, because it's like open, close and open, close. So we are not in a position to strategize anything at the current moment. But rightly, when the time is there, we will definitely look to strategize how to move forward in terms of retail. But I feel that the capital allocation for retail will definitely be looked at. At least the board is sincerely feeling that any incremental investment into retail will be doubly screened and then will be looked at.
Understood. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Deepan Sankara from Trustline Portfolio Management Service. Please go ahead.
Thanks a lot for the opportunity and good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, wanted to understand, after this lockdown ending in UK, the UK reported very strong retail sales of 10% higher than 2019 sales for the month of May. So are we seeing very good traction in the order book in terms of from specifically UK region?
Yes, as I mentioned in my opening speech, we are very, very optimistic about the SP UK business model, where
we asked about the UK business retailers, not SP UK.
Oh, sorry, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, actually there is no problem from booking the order from UK market, and since their lockdown is completely open and we are getting the booking as usual.
Okay. So are we seeing that momentum picking up post lockdown opening up in UK market?
Yeah, very much. See, it's very much, and also this is a time, the post-lockdown in the Europe, so they are seriously reviewing again and again on consolidation because of, lack of traveling, lack of one-to-one communication, lack of, capability to manage all on the digital way of working. So they want to concentrate on very limited super suppliers. So which means the business anyway is good after the lockdown in the Europe. Plus, because of the consolidation, the customers are asking us to take more businesses even in other departments. So it is as far as the order inflow is concerned, it is not at all a problem. It's very, very positive.
Okay, thanks a lot. And also, are we in discussion with any new customers in pipeline for UK or US region?
Yeah, as we mentioned before, we have 2 customers in the pipeline, which we mentioned before. So due to the lockdown, the things have delayed a little bit. I think already they have started again, starting the dialogues now. So probably in Q3, the business will start coming in.
Once we get orders, we will just confirm the name of the customer. We will not be in a position to name any customer for the time being.
Okay. And lastly, the SP UK EBITDA margins, last quarter it was around 7%, so but this quarter it has fallen. So this is the sustainable margins there, or it can bounce back to 7% EBITDA margin?
No, 7% everything is purely because of the exchange movements that is happening. So when you reverse that is where the changes are happening. But on a year as a whole, the EBITDA margins is sustained at 5%, and I guess going forward anywhere between 5 to 6%, because it's purely a trading business. 5 to 6% of EBITDA margins should be sustainable going forward.
Okay, thanks a lot and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. I request all the participants, please restrict to 2 questions per participant. The next question is from the line of Mr. Desham Jain from DSP Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. So the first question is on the European retailers per se. What we keep hearing is that the inventory pipeline for the retailers is much thinner than what it was, let's say, a year back or pre-COVID times. And because of the 1Q disruption we've seen in India, possibly the kind of imports they could have done, that might have also reduced. So just your thoughts on the same, that should we see from here on a much better demand because of this situation as well?
Yes. See, it's a very unusual. Last lockdown, both the Europe, American market as well as India were under lockdown. So there were no issues. But this time, what happened in this Q1 period, from April onwards, until April, Europe was under lockdown and we were open. And now they are open and we are in the lockdown. So they have, some customers have enough stocks to manage for another 2 months in our supply chain. But some customers are running normal stocks only, so where they are facing a kind of expectation of shortfall in supply chain. So there are a lot of support we are getting from the customers to make sure that wherever possible they extend the deliveries dates, and then they make sure that, and most of the orders they even take by air to meet out their supply chain to have enough stock. So this is the current scenario.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you for that. The second question is on the capex. What is the capex amount for FY22, the budgeted number? FY22,
because the carryover that has happened because of Q1. So we are expecting a capex close to 20-25 crores, Resham.
And this is, if you can give a breakup between.
So like spinning, we are expecting close to around 15 crores of investments where we are thinking of 3,600 spindles to be added. Other than that, the other things will be only mostly to do with the maintenance capex.
Okay. Okay. And so just one bookkeeping question. For your garmenting division, how much of yarn is procured internally?
So internally, I look at close to 70% of the yarns are procured internally. 30% is brought somewhere 30 to 50 based on the product mix. Special yarns, dyed yarns. So based on that, 70 to 75% will be internal.
And this will become like closer to 85% after this 3,600 spindles. Or this is this increase in volumes you are going to increase your increase.
It can increase by another 5%, anywhere between 75 to 80%.
Okay, got it, sir. Thank you. I'll come back in the queue. Thanks.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Bharat Seth from Quest Investment Advisors. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, and thanks for the opportunity. Mr. Sundararajan, in FY19 we did a volume of for export only, garment exports, almost 60 million, which has come down to 42 million. And after that also we expanded a sewing machine capacity in FY20 from 4,000 to roughly 5,000. Is that correct statement?
Sorry, can you repeat this question again, sir?
In FY19, when we did a volume of approximately 60 million, FY19 I'm talking, and that point of time our sewing machine capacity was roughly around 4,000 or 4,200, and now we have expanded our sewing machine capacity to 5,000. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So now coming to this, with this 5,000 sewing machine capacity and whatever utilization you assume from say Q3 onward, and then going to a double shift say in FY23. So what peak revenue can be achieved with that utilization?
So currently we have 5,000 sewing machines, which you were correct. And at the peak utilization of the machines, we can be close to 1,000 crores of revenue.
Correct.
On the exports alone. When you add up other export incentives, we can also go up to 1,150 crores.
Fair. So if once we do double shift, which we are planning to do it from say Q3 onwards, subject to normalization of everything, and then again some of the factory, then FY23 we may be able to expand this double shift again, so to more factory. So in that scenario, what kind of a peak revenue?
Sir, the double shift can be implemented only where the factories have got the hostel facilities. We cannot implement it in all the factories. Last call, MD clearly said that the factories which have got the hostel facilities can ramp up for the second shift, which could be at a peak of 1,500 sewing machines.
Okay. And are we planning to increase more hostels so that in future, whenever we get the opportunity, so without spending too much capex, we can expand the capacity itself?
Yes, you are right. Our main objective is to improve the capacities through hostel so that we can increase the second shift, so that there is no investment into the factory.
Yeah, all what needs to happen is that once the lockdown becomes normal, then we will increase the migrant strength gradually. We have to bring them from other states to train them and put them in place and gradually fill for the one shift vacancies and gradually go for the two shifts on a phased manner. So it's a kind of a long-term exercise, So probably next year by now, we would have most of the hostel factories will be operating in two shifts.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Akshay Cheda from Canara Robeco Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. So my question was on the textile parks announcement that was done in the budget. So do we see any progress there, or things are just the way they were post the announcement? Yeah.
So textile park, I think we are not looking at going to any textile park, mainly because we have built our own setup, and the problem is not on the infrastructure. It is purely the capacities how we bring up. So we have to increase our capacity strength, and that is where we are working on.
No, sir, I wanted to understand more from the government perspective. Like, do we hear any progress on that side?
I am not aware about the textile park that is coming up on the Tamil Nadu side.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nilesh Doshi from Green Lantern Capital. Please go ahead.
Sir, in your opening speech, you mentioned about some new verticals, and you said you are very excited about those new verticals. Can you please elaborate, like, what are those new verticals? Are you going to bring those products from this current capacity? How much it would add to the revenue, and in what period of time? So can you just help us understand in more detail?
So, like Mr. Sundararajan would like to explain more on it, but for the time being, I guess the verticals are in the beginning stage. Once it is
I'll explain. See, we cannot be so open about the plans, but we have done a kind of strategizing so many ways how we can ramp up parallelly. See, one is the existing setup to grow at a pace of say 15-20%, 10-20%, that we are always trying to do. Anyway, that is going to happen. In the meantime, we were just internally seriously thinking of how to strategize with parallel vertical setup, so which can go along with this growth, and at one point of time it will also be like SP UK business model, which is now currently it is supporting about say 100 crores of business now, and which can also go up to double in the next 2-3 years time. So same way we have strategized some business models about 3 verticals to 4 verticals without disturbing our existing setup or without any additional investments on the fixed assets or anything, capex. So we have worked out some and framed something, but the talks are going with the relevant parties and probably we'll be able to know by the Q3. After Q2 results announcement, we will be able to give you some kind of inputs. Currently, we will not be able to tell you anything.
But that would be in the same line of products, or it would be completely different category of products?
Related to the same industry, same product.
Okay. The second is on the UK business. Can you help us understand in SP UK? So I would assume that the products are already manufactured and exported from the standalone business. So the EBITDA of standalone 18% is captured, and over and above that we get 5 to 6% EBITDA of 100 for that 100 crore sales what you do through SP UK. Is that correct?
Yeah, you are right. See, why at all SP UK is that certain sizes of orders which we are not able to execute in-house, they are getting it outsourced from the other factories. So like a small set of orders which they do, which we are not able to do, they are doing it. So we are leveraging only on the relationship what we have. They are doing it is purely an additional business which comes to us.
But there, Mr. Balaji, do you sell these products on your? I mean, you give it to the wholesalers or a big brand like that primers
No,
now would be.
let me tell you, there are set of retailers who are not having any design capacity, sourcing capability, or their own people, or quality control, technical. So they have only the retail business, but nothing, no other because of their size of business, they cannot afford to spend so much. So they seek somebody locally in the UK who can take these kind of services and supply to them. So we sitting here, we cannot handle them because the local needs them to interact with them on a weekly basis and design supports, everything. So what we thought, because of the company's reputation of SP Apparel, the most of us would love to continue with SP Apparel for their products, but we cannot say no to them from India business. So what we decided that we have evolved this business model, which means same handwriting, same people, same communication strength, but that UK office will give design support, technical support, sourcing, compliance, all supports. All they need to do is just give the order to our SP UK office, who can source wherever they want to, and they can supply to them. So which means we are not sharing our existing capacity to these customers. These business is coming as an extra capacity from other sources.
And how big this business can then become over a period, because this is a business with complete outsourced model.
Yeah, it can grow. See, because of this COVID situation, it's becoming lesser and lesser traveling by the retailers. Previously, they always used to travel once in 2 months, 3 months, but now completely stopped. So it has become a new normal, new way of working for them. So they would prefer not to travel. If that's the case, they will definitely need some support from local who can have an office in India, can manage it. So it is all the more going to be more prospective, more benefit to the SP UK business. It can easily double or 3 times it can go up to. It's not an issue.
Okay. The second is, you mentioned some 360 crore kind of an order book on the garment division, right? Is that correct? As of end of March.
325. 325 as of now.
325 as of now.
Yeah, 329 as of today.
As of today. And how do you see, I mean, I'm repeating the question asked by another colleague, but how do you see, because since Europe and UK is opening up, absolutely, as somebody pointed out, the inventory levels are extremely low across the world. There was a disruption in supply chain. So my sense is that you would be under tremendous pressure as of moment to supply, I think, and the kind of orders should be pouring in should be phenomenally high compared to even pre-COVID level, especially because of the pent-up and the very poor supply chain and inventory.
Correct. So, but for us, we will only book as whatever capacities we expect to have. So we cannot book more than that. Of course, there are pressure. They are asking us to increase the capacity. Why don't you do something and put up new factories or something like that? So we are looking at some ways, to increase the business. We are talking to the customers how we can increase the business. But there are pressure, but we will not overbook.
And
yeah, but still you can book at the.
Yeah,
but ma'am, still you can book at the rate of 250 crore a quarter, right?
200.
Yes.
Up to 200 crore we can book.
Still. Another 200 crores we can book.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Jeetu Punjabi from EM Capital Advisors. Please go ahead.
Hi. Hi. Thanks. Good connecting again. So, 2 questions. One, on the labor side, I remember there was some regulatory stuff by which wage hikes would have to happen. Can you give us some color on that and what the implications thereof?
Regarding the wages,
the state had mandated some wage hike, which everyone in the area had to do, right?
No, there is a routine revision of wages, on the DA every year on year. That is the only thing is happening. Otherwise, there is no any compulsion or any restriction, to increase the wages. We go by the prevailing market prices.
Okay, great. The second question is, if I heard you right, I mean, what I heard you say is you do a little over 1,000 crore turnover and your 18% EBITDA margin is maintainable. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And the final question is buoyancy in the cotton and the cotton yarn segment that's happening. How do you see, because the whole area, whole Coimbatore and whole the region is a belt doing that, so that must be going through a big boom, and the supply of spindles must have tightened up because US wants a lot of spindles. So is that putting pressure on you guys, or what are the implications thereof?
See, being a captive manufacturing, if the yarn is boom, then there will be a tight margin in our garment division. So, but margin will be better in the yarn. So, I mean, it is all within the, because of the backward integration. Unless there is a increase in the cotton raw material prices, we will not have any major impact on the price fluctuation. And if the cotton price increases, definitely it increases to all competitive countries also. So we will be able to negotiate with our customers to get a better price.
Okay, and one final quick one is that you talked about adding some spindle capacity. Are you going to need external capital for that, or how are you going to fund that?
So we are going to use the internal funding for the capex.
Okay. And is there a number to that? How much money?
The capex will be close to 15 crores.
Okay, that's not much. Okay, thank you guys. All the best.
Thank you.
The next question is from the line of Parth Patel from Equirus Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Hi, sir. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. All our questions have been answered. Just one question. Are you planning for any technological upgradation in your the manufacturing process, like embroidery or printing, 2-3 years down the line?
Gradual upgradation? What upgradation?
Printing.
Inventory management system, something like that?
No, in manufacturing system, we did definitely some modernization in the existing sewing setup by lean manufacturing and etc. But otherwise, on the ancillary facilities like printing or embroidery, we are outsourcing them with the approval of our customers, which is fine. We don't see any big investments in the future for the next 2 years. Probably after 2 years, once we ramp up our top line, then probably we will have additional increase in the printing and embroidery to some extent, not immediately.
Okay, that helps. That is all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Mr. Resham Jain from DSP Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you once again. So I have one broader question. If I look at the other listed company out of Coimbatore, if I look back, let's say 5 years out, your revenue was almost similar. And if you can share your thoughts that what will change in the next 5 years, where I could see the other competitors growing almost double the size in last 5 years, while we remain, even on a quarterly basis, it is similar to what we were, let's say 5 years back. FY17, if I look at the numbers, you were around 600 crores in garment. And if I look at the Q4 run rate, you will be like 640 crores. So what really will change for us in the next 3 to 5 years for us to move to that next level of growth? Just your thoughts on the same.
Yes, I agree to it but I don't know. I mean, in the last 5 years, that every year we have been facing a lot of hindrances one way or other, either Brexit or
Yes, sir, I appreciate those facts. I truly appreciate those facts. I will be waiting on those fronts.
In the next 5 years, as I mentioned, there is no issue on financials, no issue on customer, no issue on the capability of manufacturing. The only issue is the increase the sewing capacity. That's the only constraint we have been facing. Where we have taken one step is that to increase the hostel migrant workers, which we already have started doing in the last 4 or 5 months' time. But for this pandemic situation, this has been slowed down. So we are having a plan to bring in more migrants. Already we have set up the training centers, and the things are ongoing. On a monthly basis, X number of operators we train and put them, induct them into the manufacturing sewing shop floor. That is going to be an ongoing for the next 5 years for sure. So that alone will double the capacity only by concentrating on the migrant workers. So as the capacity increases, naturally there is no other hindrances to stop the growth of the company. And secondly, we are, as I told you, we have about 3-4 vertical strategic business plans which will run parallelly to the existing, similar to SP UK business, which started about 5 years back. Today it is doing close to about 100 crores of business. So like this, we are having some 2-3 vertical business strategy models, which will also, similar to SP UK, will bring in additional growth for the business. So existing growth, the ongoing process is going on. And there is a ramping up of the business with SP UK. There are 3 more new customers added to the SP UK. So that's quite possible that it can double the business in the next 2 years' time. And these three verticals will also bring in few hundred crores of business in the next 2-3 years' time. So we have a very clear plan for the next 5 years. It's not going to happen like what we have been doing in the last 5 years.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much and good luck. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that will be the last question for today. I will now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Dear all, I think we have come to the end of this con call thing. And I really appreciate various questions we have been raised by you, and unfortunately we have very limited time, so we could not attend more questions. And I thank you so much for showing interest in our business, and thanks for your valuable time to participate in this con call. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Systematix Institutional Equities, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect your lines.